I am not baking. I just got over having we did a news segment with our local news, and I made biscuits and gravy. We talked about my cookbook. We talked about that my kids were in there and they interviewed my kids. It was just really a lot of fun. It was like an hour long. And so now I'm just picking up everything, doing the dishes. I think that me and my daughter Haley and Madison, we're gonna go into town because Madison and Brennan are getting married next summer, and so we're gonna look for decorations. We're gonna go have lunch. It's kind of like an overcast day, so there's really not a lot to do when you have an overcast day. And so I'm just gonna I thought I'd go on here and you guys could ask me some questions. Maybe because usually when I'm on here, I'm not usually like looking at the screen. I am normally either baking or cooking and teaching you guys something. But I thought today might be fun just to have you guys answer some questions, or I'll answer some questions for you, and I kind of chat with you guys a little bit. So that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm not cooking. I'm just going to visit with you guys, ask me whatever question. I know you got the sink right in the way. So let's go over here, and then you guys can see me a little better. There we go. Hello, everybody. How are you? Just had, I know everybody's joining, I just said it, but we just had our TV6. That's our local station. We just, I made biscuits and gravy, and we talked about my cookbook. I did get emotional because you guys know that whenever I talk about my children, I get really emotional. And I kind of got caught up in the moment of just talking about how thankful I am for my kids. And then I look up and my husband is tearing up. Robert's tearing up. Gideon's tearing up. And I was like, can we go to cut? So yeah, I do get very emotional and talk about my kids. So yeah, I don't have anything to make for you guys. I am going to go, I think, live tomorrow because I have one more week before my cookbook comes out. And so I want to make several things in my cookbook. And I was on another platform and somebody was talking about how they wanted to buy the cookbook, and they're like, well, you don't have to buy it because you can just find all the recipes if you Google them. Well, I do have recipes in there that I have never shared with you guys on any of my platforms. So when you get my cookbook, you're going to see recipes that you've never seen me make. They're recipes that I used to make my kids years ago. And also there's a lot of them that I haven't made in gosh, we've been on this platform for almost 4 years. So there's going to be a lot of recipes on there that you guys haven't seen in a long time. And if you haven't been one of our first followers, then you probably haven't seen that recipe. And so there are going to be surprises. And you're not going to know everything that's on there. You're going to be like, oh, but it also is a wonderful story of our family and our adoption. And how food really affected our family, and how I got to this point cooking over all the years, because we were foster parents for several years. I'm thinking almost 10 or 13 years. I'm not really sure exactly. So I figured, so I'm going to answer questions. Okay. So you guys can ask me some questions, and I'm going to talk about questions. If you have questions about the cookbook, if you have questions about our family, I do not have a dishwasher. I used to have a dishwasher, and I got rid of my dishwasher because my kids would fill the dishwasher and never unfill it. And so then the dishes, they started to smell. Or I had a couple kids that weren't really sure how to use the dishwasher, and they kept putting dish soap in it. And so I'd have bubbles all over my house. And I just really want to get my dishes done. And it's so funny because all my kids are the same way. They're like, no, I'm not going to get a dishwasher because it never gets done. So it's pretty funny. We all are anti-dishwashers, and I don't mind doing the dishes. So somebody had asked me what my favorite Christmas show is. I think a lot of you guys can probably figure that out. I love Daddy's Home Too. That is my first favorite. My second favorite is, what is it called? Tori Spelling's in it. It's called The Mistletones. That is my second favorite. I also love White Christmas. I watch that with Robert. So there's different shows that I can't watch until I watch them with my kids. We don't watch Home Alone until Joshy's around, because that's Joshy's. We watch Elf when we snap beans, and then I don't watch Christmas Story until my son Robert will watch it with me. And he's not like an early Christmas guy. So after Thanksgiving, that's when he'll watch it with me. So he comes over. Sometimes we'll just like get popcorn and we'll just kind of lay in my bed and just kind of chill. And then all the kids will come up and they'll be like, sheesh, like 6 of us laying on my bed, just kind of watching the show. So I have different traditions that we do when it comes to different shows. Hello, everybody. Hello from Chicago. I actually have an option or an opportunity to be on the Chicago's, their news in the morning to cook and talk about my cookbook. So this shirt I got, I actually have several of them. They're very, very thin sweaters. I got it at Walmart for $6. So what do you guys, so ask the Lions. Oh my goodness, the Lions. Holy cow. They were on fire. You should have heard my house. My family was like roaring and screaming. They were so excited over that game. The Family Stone, that's a good one too. Yes. Hello, Pennsylvania. So me and some girls are going to be heading to New York City. And I know I had asked you guys in one of my lives to kind of give me some ideas on where to go. And you guys gave me super, super ideas. So I wrote all of them down. Did you foster some children and then adopt them all? So me and my husband, we actually did not think we would be able to have kids. So I have well, I don't know if I have it anymore because I'm in menopause, but I had an aggressive form of endometriosis. And so the doctors told us that we wouldn't be able to have children. We tried everything. We didn't do the in vitro because I just felt like God wasn't leading us that path. So we ended up adopting my first son, David, through private adoption. And it was an open adoption. So we have, well, I want to say we're friends with David's family. I love his birth mom so much. She definitely gives the best. Oh, they're done already? Doesn't look like I'm going to be on live very long today. Me and the girls are going shopping, so I thought I would come live on here. And I see... Oh, that's Noah. He's driving through the yard with my van. The girls must still be doing eggs, so we're going to be doing some shopping. So anyway, we adopted David through a private adoption, but we kept it open because we really felt like David needed to know his family, and I think it was important for him and also for his family for healing. And we love their family. He has 2 siblings through his birth mom, and we just love their family so much. So great. And so then after we adopted David, we'd like, okay, you know, I know a lot of people will go into foster care to adopt, and you have to remember if you do that the goal for foster care is reunification. It's not to go in there and adopt a lot of kids. It's to be a stopping point and a help to those kids who are in foster care. And I do realize there are certain circumstances where kids aren't able to be placed back with their family, or maybe they'll go to a relative. But ultimately, that is the first goal of doing foster care. So if you go into foster care strictly because you would like to have a big family, you're not going to be going in for the right reasons, and you're definitely going to be disappointed by it. So we went in because we adopted David, and we're like, okay, I'm a mom. I adopted David. His birth mom, you know, she got to pick us and trusted us, and we became friends with her and built a relationship with her. So I was just happy to be a mom. We didn't go into foster care because we wanted to adopt a bunch of children. I felt like I wanted to do more. I wanted to be a help. And so we got into foster care so we could be a help to the kids, but not only to the kids, but also to the families. We wanted to help the families. And so several of our kids that were in foster care, we were a part of their families too. We'd allow them to come over for birthdays. We would go to lunch. I mean, we would do whatever we could so the children could see their parents as much as possible. And so that's what our goal was just to be a help to the families, because I realized that, you know, the kids are in, you know, situations that aren't too good, but these parents are also struggling, and they just might need a friend. They just might need somebody to tell them that they love them. And so that was our goal, was to, sorry about that. I got to get more dishes to soak. Our goal was to be a help to the whole entire family unit. because you don't want broken families. You know, we need to heal these broken families, and we need to educate these parents and give them resources they need to get on their feet. And I really do feel as a foster parent, there's a gap that we're missing something where these parents, they're not getting the education and the help that they need to get back on their feet. So then they go right back into the system because these parents are struggling. They just need somebody to help them. There are a lot of good programs, but I just don't feel like there's enough programs. I actually did the jail ministry probably for maybe 3 or 4 years. I did the jail ministry where I go in on weekends and I would do Bible studies and just get to know these ladies and try and be a help with them. And a lot of them, when they got out, I'd say, okay, so what's your plan? They're like, well, when we get out, there's nothing for us. So they basically go, they sit on the bench, they wait for DHS to open up, and then they apply for assistance. And if they don't get the assistance, they basically live on the streets if there's no family, and then they're right back into the system again. So there really is a huge need for resources for helping these families who are broken, helping men and women that are in jail, you know, because we want to stop the generational, right? Because it goes to generations. If you are raised a certain way, you tend to have, that's kind of how all you know, right? And so you tend to be like that. And I really did feel helpless when I was a foster parent. We would bring them into our home and we would, you know, invite them over and help them out and, you know, try and give them things that they needed. But I just feel like it's not enough, you know. And when you have a mom or dad that their kids are in foster care, but their families are broken, like their moms and dads and their aunts and uncles, so they really have nowhere to go. So I really do feel like we just need like more resources and more things for them. It's just not easy. It definitely is very hard. As a former foster parent, you need to expect so many emotions, right? So many emotions are going to happen. Like you are upset and you're happy, you're sad, you're angry, you're emotional. Like it brings out every emotion possible. And when I became a foster parent, my perfect world bubble was popped. And I don't mean this, I mean, I'm just being honest with you. Before I became a foster parent, I really didn't realize all the broken families. I didn't realize there were people struggling. I just thought every family was like mine. I mean, we weren't perfect. We struggled, but we were together. And I just assumed that's kind of how the world was. I mean, honestly, because I was, you know, raised, I guess, in a different area, I wasn't aware of it. So when I became a foster parent, it really burst my bubble. I was like, I was very humbled and very, I had heartache. I was sad for these people. I just was like, what can I do to help? And so that's one of the reasons we stayed doing foster care, is because we wanted to be a blessing to the parents. And I have so many of the moms that their children were in our foster care temporarily, and I love them so much, and I still see them. And they're doing great because they picked up the pieces and they found people to invest in them and people that love them. And so, and that's the thing too with David's birth mom, is she was the best hugger ever. So if you're ever sad or struggling, she will hug that out of you because she's just a sweet, sweet person, you know. And so, I mean, I didn't mean to get off on a tangent, you know, talking about it, but it really is, it takes a lot in everybody. And I know the social workers are overworked, and I know they get a lot of the grunt. Everything's their fault, right? Everything's their fault. There's no accountability. And we worked with some wonderful social workers, and one of them is our best friend. We love her so much, and she's come to all the kids' graduations and then Haley's wedding, and she pretty much put our family together, and I'm truly grateful for her. But anytime I have a question, she's right there to help, and we just really, really love her so much. And we just built like so many really good relationships through foster care. The only reason we closed our license is because we did have 8. And in Michigan, at the time, you're only allowed to have 8 children, which I understand. I mean, that's a lot of kids. I don't think I agree that you can have your license open and have 20, 30 kids. I mean, you need help. I know being a mom to 8, it was a lot. If I didn't have my husband here and then friends of mine that helped me, I might not be as successful as I am. I had people invest in me and help me as a mother and a wife and a friend. So when we got into foster care, we definitely didn't go in because we wanted a bigger family. We went in because I just felt like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes I want to like hug the whole world. I'm serious. I feel like I'm this mom that, I don't know if maybe you guys feel the same way, but I feel like inside I just want to burst because I want to help. And I just don't know sometimes how to do that. And I just want to hug everybody I walk by. I want to tell them I love them. I'm proud of them. They're probably going to think I'm a crazy lady. Who's this crazy lady hugging everybody? But I really want to make a difference in the world. And I've been praying that God would use me, praying that God would give me opportunities. And do I think our foster care journey is over? I don't know. I know right now that the kids I have really need us. And we've got so many things going on in our life. I don't know if I could foster at this time. Do I feel like the door's closed? No. And so for our children, each of them was a different case. Josh, he came in when he was 2 weeks old. And I've shared before that he's a shaken baby. And so he came in and holy cow, just to see him now and the hurdles he went over and the milestones he reached, because he's just strong. He's like, Josh, he's my hero. He's so strong. And I know everybody's asking me questions. I'm just going to continue just sharing with you our journey, but I don't want to share, private details. And so then after we adopted Joshua, Joshua's adoption was final in 2003 on July 2nd. July 3rd, I found out I was pregnant with Gideon after 8 years of infertility. And we were told we wouldn't be able to have children. And so I thought, well, if I can't have my own and I have my David, I'm going to be a mom to everybody. And I feel like I'm like that now. I feel like I need to be a mom to everybody, but I wanted to be a mom to everybody. I wanted to be a friend to these moms, and I want to be another mom to these kids, like another support mom. And that's just how I've always felt. And that's why we have so many kids that come into our home and all our kids' friends. And we do a ministry for kids. And then my son Brendan does a ministry for the youth. And I just love the kids that come in. We have we had 21 kids last week. And I'm sure they struggle. I'm sure their home life isn't perfect because we don't go into the rich neighborhoods. We go into, families that really need help, and just need like for an hour just to be loved on for an hour, And so anyway, I found out I was pregnant with Gideon the very next day after Joshy's adoption was final. And then Isabella came into our home with her brother when she was little. And we worked with her family for a while. And it just didn't work out. So we finally adopted Isabella when she was almost 3. We do have a relationship with a lot of her family on both sides. Her grandma is her best friend, and her uncle Josh is amazing. And so she does have a relationship. And that's the thing too with our kids. We wanted them to have a relationship with their birth families because it's important for, like I said earlier, for healing. They need them, and to shut that door and have no contact, I just don't feel like would be easy, especially as they get older and they have lots of questions. And that's the thing too in our family is, we adopted so many children that we talked about adoption a lot. So it wasn't like Izzy turned 18 and she's like, what? I'm adopted? Like we have always talked about adoption. So it was a normal thing to talk about adoption. And so as the kids got older, they maybe they didn't understand when they were younger, but as they got older, they knew they were adopted. And it was just part of our family dynamics, like part of our family. So nobody was like, oh my goodness, like shocked or upset over it, because we just always talked about it, and I feel like my kids are very kind to others because they understand the struggle. And my kids have a very unique bond because they understand. And so they have this bond and they have this friendship with them and they love to be together. And so anyway, we ended up adopting Isabella. And then shortly after Isabella, we got a call. Are you done? Yeah, the girls are almost done. So, they're done? Oh, perfect.
I'm not done.
That's okay. We can help you later.
I got a lot of it done.
Okay, perfect. And so after we adopted Izzy, about 2 years later, we got a call saying, we have a little girl, she's 9, she wants to live on a big farm. go to church and have a big family. And so I got a call from one of my social worker that pretty much gave me my whole family. And she said, congratulations, it's a girl. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, I have a girl coming that you're going to meet next week. And she told me what she wanted. And I was like, and it's funny because, Haley was a Spitfire. She interviewed us. She was 9. And she interviewed us to let us know if she really wanted to be here. And then she reminded me that she's going to talk to some other families. I mean, she was, woo-wee, but I love her so much. She's my best friend. And, but oh gosh, her's a Spitfire, a really big Spitfire. But she, she told me, this is what I want. And right away, her and David clicked and went and seen the horses. And then she got goats. And so, she's still here, obviously. And so shortly after that, Noah came into our home because his brothers lived next to us. So Robert and Brendan were our neighbors with their dad, Mike. And so we were friends with Mike, loved him so much. He worked for our Mason company and they rented from us at the rental next door. And oh my goodness, their dad, handsome. And was he a charmer? Oh, I go into church and he'd be like, hey, Miss Heather. I mean, he was just so cute, just full of life. And then he suddenly passed. And it was really hard. It was so horrible. And the boys, we sat with their aunt and uncle, and we sat with the boys, and we asked them, what do you want to do? And so the aunt and uncle were so kind. We love them so much. And they even invest in all my other kids. And I know they don't have to do that, but they love our family. And so they sat and they said, okay, you can come with us. Or if you want to stay here in the UP, you can, live with the Bells. And so I remember us sitting at the table together, and the boys said they would like to live with us. And so then we adopted Robert, Brendan, and Noah, and that made us 8. So then we had to close our license, and we had to rearrange bedrooms, and we had to buy a 12-passenger van. So the times of having a real car was done because I needed to have like a bus to haul all my kids in. And so my kids, they all have the choice to see whoever they want. Our only thing when they were growing up was if they were safe. We wanted to make sure that the family members were safe and doing well because we definitely, were responsible for our children. And we want to make sure we didn't put them in a position that wasn't good. And so our holidays can be busy and big. Our kids, they have lunch and dinner and they go shopping with their family. Haley has her grandma is so sweet, and they all came up for the wedding. So they are very involved with their birth families. And what's the greatest thing about that is that their birth families accept me and my husband, and they love me and my husband, and they invest in me and my husband. And then they trust us with their kids, and they build us up and they help support us. And so, that saying that it takes a village to raise a family, our family is truly like that. It really did take a village to raise our kids. We needed Izzy's grandma and her aunt. We needed David's birth mom and his grandparents. And I got to tell you, my lasagna recipe, a lot of the inspiration comes from David's grandma Ruby. Her and Grandma Dodie make the best lasagna, hands down. And we needed the support of the boy's mom and the boy's uncle and aunt and their cousins. And we needed the support, of Haley's grandma and grandpa and her Uncle Tom and her friends. And, so we needed that just as much as they did. They need it more, of course. But to know that these families love us and support us has really been a help to us. And I love having like the craziness and everybody around and I know when my kids get married and have grandbabies, have my grandbabies, it's going to be like crazy again. So I know you guys are asking, and I was just kind of sharing with you. So that's kind of how our family came together. I definitely don't want to share intimate details. I made that mistake once years ago, and I don't want to make it again because it truly is their stories to share. And I was very intrusive on sharing that. So I had to go through my platforms. I had to private several things and delete several things. I had to apologize to my children, apologize to my followers. I've done that several times, and my husband and God, and get it right. And so maybe that's why our platforms aren't growing as much, because I'm not monopolizing my kids' hurt and pain like I did before. And so that was very humbling to get it right with my family and their family and my followers and my husband, because you just don't think, like, you know, not that I was trying to be horrible or use them, but I realized that even though it was still not intentional, you know what I'm saying? It still wasn't right. So just because you have the right to do something doesn't mean you should. Because really, if you think about it, we can all do whatever we want, right? I mean, honestly, we have to make that decision. And just because you have that right doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. And so that's kind of a little of my history when it comes to the internet is a very scary place. And I have been really praying also when it comes to my grandchildren on whether they're going to be shared on here, because it really is crazy. And my kids are all older, so they choose to be on or not. They choose whether they want to be in anything. And if you've noticed, there really hasn't been a lot of some of my kids because they're busy. My kids get up, they work from 7:30 to 6. They come home and eat, and the last thing they want is mom to video them eating. You know, I mean, they're busy. And in the holidays, though, you'll see more of my family in the holidays because we love doing all the holiday traditions, the games, the gingerbread houses, the pumpkin carving contest. Like, we do all that every year, and they love that. I mean, they get a little crazy when it comes to that, but I don't force my kids to be in the videos, and but they are. I mean, they've been in it quite a bit actually, and they'll come up to me and say, I got this idea, but I just don't want to make that same mistake that I did before. So we'll share our adoption journey, but we don't share details like I had screwed up and did earlier. But our cookbook is super cool because it's sharing all of our family favorite recipes, but it also shares our adoption story when it relates to food. So it's how I became, how I worked through being a foster mom and then adopting, and how food changed. I had to change the way I made food. And it does share some things, but not intimate, private details. This morning went so well. So anyway, that's kind of so what's the process to get started with adoption? So the process to get started with adoption is you contact an agency. When me and my husband were foster care parents, I don't believe there were independent private adoption agencies like there are now. There might have been, I don't know. So if it was me, I would definitely go with a private adoption agency. I don't know if I would go to DHS just because they're so overwhelmed, because they have many hats. You know, they have to do so many different jobs, not just their one job. And there's a lot going on. So I would suggest looking into an independent one where they might have more time to do one-on-one. I think they can only do so many. I mean, I don't know. I don't work with the agency. But I do know we were we were part of DHS, and they were busy and they were short-staffed. And I mean, there was only so much they could do. And so it really, as a foster parent, you have to step up and help. It's okay if you have to drive a child to see his parents. It's okay if you might have to help monitor or, respond to stuff. It's okay. You can't depend on the social worker to do everything. If you're going to be a foster parent, you better expect to be invested and to be a part of it, instead of just kind of staying on the low. And I understand there are some parents that it is hard to work with, or the situation could be dangerous. So in those situations, of course, you want the social worker to lead. But in other cases where it's not, or they're doing well, it's okay to help. It just shows that you love the whole family and that you want what's best for the kids. Not that you want what's best for the kids because you want them, but because you want what's best. We've had many kids leave our home that I cried and cried because we loved them so much. But God wanted them with their families. And we had to just let God work, and they're doing wonderful. Do I know if every case went good after that? I don't know. But I know a lot of the kids that we had in our home, they went back and the parents got their acts together, and they're doing so great. So be prepared to get upset and cry. It is what it is. And also, I'll finish talking about the process in a second. I know for us, when a child was placed in our home, we didn't treat them any differently. They ate what we ate. If I went shopping for clothes, they also got clothes. I actually had to color code my kids because I had so many of them. They all had they were color coded. So they had their color coat and mittens and gloves and snow pants. It was just easier for the kids to figure out their stuff. But if we bought them toys or had a birthday here, they got to take them with them. We didn't make them keep the clothes here. I feel that's super petty. So because that's their stuff, and they came with nothing. So let them leave with something. So if they got clothes or toys or they're here for Christmas, they got to take their stuff because that's their stuff. I didn't buy it to them just because they're in foster care and expect to keep it and use it on another kid. That's just not how we did it. You can do however you think, but it's just their stuff, you know. But as far as the process goes, you're going to contact an agency. They're going to start by sending you papers to fill out. You got to do a background check. You have to take some classes. You have to get so many hours. And then they have to come through your home and make sure that it's safe and that you have the fire alarms and a carbon monoxide detector and that your water isn't too hot, and make sure there's enough space in the bedroom and they have a closet. So there's a process you're going to go through. And also, if you have anybody in your home that's 18 or over, they also have to go through the same process. I haven't been a foster parent for 10 years, so I don't know if things have changed, but that's how it was when we became foster parents. That's also another thing, is she talked about how when she was 18, she aged out of the system and was homeless. That is another thing that we really do need resources for. I hear that a lot, of children that age out of the system and there's nowhere for them. There's no services for them. They basically are homeless. And that is, I think, is something else we really need to work on. You know, maybe I'm going to do some investigating. Maybe I'm going to start creating some stuff. And I've talked to many of them that said, all I want is just to say I had a family before I get out of foster care. You know, they just want a family. And it's very sad to me. Let's move that over there. It's very sad to me for sure. So I might have to start doing some searching of myself and see if I can maybe be a difference and create some organization or some kind of, I don't even know where to begin, but I don't know. It's obviously still weighing on my heart because I haven't been a foster parent for years and these things still bother me. And I know all my kids had talked about wanting to be foster parents and adopt when they have their families. So thank you so much. I had to do a therapeutic parenting. Yeah, see, I don't know. Changing the world one person at a time. I would love that. Oh, that's amazing. So somebody just said in Wisconsin, when they age out of the system, they actually help provide them apartment and then help them to get a job. And that is amazing. I wish that was everywhere for sure. That's true. Anybody can make a difference. It just takes one, right? Just one hug, one I love you, one I'm so proud of you. Hey, what can I do for you? Right? It just takes one. Where is Noah going to college at? Who are you calling? He's smiling. He doesn't know what he wants to do. He might want it. I'm going to try and talk him into being an electrician.
Why are you stalling?
But he wants to probably work with Dad and the masonry crew.
Here.
Are they done?
You put away eggs 20 minutes ago.
So Noah is calling Haley, scolding her
No,
because they're not here.
You're
Why would they be stalling? They want to go shopping. Are they coming over?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Noah's not really sure what he wants to do. So I'm going to try and go on live tomorrow. I'm going to let you guys go. Sounds like the girls are done with eggs. Joshy has a week off because they are going to a Clydesdale show. And we had our news thing today, which I'm going to share the link with you guys as soon as I get it. You can go and watch it. It was 45 minutes. And it's on WLUC TV 6. It's, what is it? Watch Today Morning. What was it? Morning News Morning Today? You were one of the presenters.
I was.
It's 3 words. Morning News Today. News Morning Today. I don't really know. I don't know. But I think tomorrow I'm going to be, we fosters. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Oh, my husband is amazing. Absolutely amazing. He has worked so hard for our family and just to be where we're at. And he continues to work so hard. Just with the farm, the masonry, and just the support of all of us, you know, he's worked hard for us to have what we have. Him and our 2 friends completely built this house all on their own. It took us like 8 months, and because we didn't have a lot of money and we couldn't hire a lot of contractors. So him and our 2 friends built my house, and I love it so much, and I just don't ever want to move. And I know there's 3 stories, so when I get older, I'm not going to want to walk up and down stairs, but I just can't let go of my home. I just have too many memories. So anyway, I think I'm gonna go live tomorrow. I'm not sure what I'm gonna make. I do want to make pumpkin bread, but I'm kind of thinking I need to make, I've been making cookies a lot, but I'm thinking we need to make food. Like maybe I'll get on live right before dinner, like maybe 2 or 3 tomorrow, and we'll make dinner. I do want to make a cheeseburger mac and cheese, but it's not my cookbook. I really want to make stuff out of my cookbook. So we'll see. I got lots of ideas of food I want to make, new recipes.
What's for dinner?
Today?
Yeah.
I don't know what's for dinner today.
You know what?
I was just so focused on getting my kitchen clean for the news thing that I didn't have time. Looks like somebody got a hold of your pop. Is that a...
That is Buddy getting a hold of a very old Dr. Pepper.
Oh, Buddy's chewing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for joining me this morning. I wanted to answer your questions. Looks like I just told you about our journey for our family. Look out tomorrow around, I'm going to say 2 or 3. Oh, here comes the girls. I'm going to say 2 or 3. Oh, you're going to look for recipes for me? Noah's Burgers with...
Dinner tonight.
You want to make burgers tonight? Noah's Burgers with aioli sauce. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me. Make sure to subscribe and like to our page. Check out the link to pre-order my cookbook. It comes out in 1 week. And look for me tomorrow live. We're going to make dinner together. I'm just not sure what. It has been kind of cold. So maybe, Leanne said hi. So maybe a chili or something. Okay, they're walking across the yard, so I got to go. That's his burger that is in the cookbook. All right, thank you so much.